The unexpected encounter, the autumn rain drummed against the crystal windows of Manhattan. General Hospital's grand ballroom as Emma Clark carefully adjusted the white orchids in the centerpiece. Her delicate fingers worked with practiced precision, ensuring each bloom was positioned perfectly for the evening's charity gala. The annual fundraiser for the Children's Cancer Ward was her biggest event of the year. She wanted everything to be flawless. Emma had been working as a freelance event designer for 3 years, ever since graduating from art school with more dreams than money. Her small apartment in Queens was filled with flower pressing equipment and event planning books, evidence of her determination to build something meaningful from her passion for creating beauty at 24. She possessed a natural elegance that needed no enhancement. Her honey blonde hair cascaded in gentle waves past her shoulders, and her warm brown eyes reflected a kindness that drew people to her. Tonight she wore a simple navy dress she had bought on sale, but her genuine smile made her radiate, more beauty than any expensive gown could provide. The ballroom was filling with New York's elite, her designer clothes and glittering jewelry, a stark contrast to Emma's modest appearance. She moved quietly between the tables, making final adjustments to her arrangements, trying to remain invisible among the wealthy donors who could afford $1,000 plates. Vincent Romano entered the ballroom like a force of nature. At 31, he commanded attention wherever he went. His technology empire had made him one of the youngest billionaires in the city, and his presence carried the confidence of a man accustomed to getting what he wanted. Dark hair framed his angular face, and steel-gray eyes missed nothing as they surveyed the room. He wore his success-like armor, the perfectly tailored black suit, emphasizing his tall, athletic frame. Women turned their heads as he passed, but Vincent barely noticed. Social events were business opportunities, nothing more. He attended because his company's substantial donations opened doors and created partnerships. The collision happened near the back corner of the ballroom. Emma was carrying a replacement vase when a waiter stumbled, bumping into her with enough force to send both her and the crystal container tumbling toward the marble floor. She closed her eyes, expecting the crash of breaking glass and the embarrassment of ruining the evening. Instead, she found herself caught against a solid chest, strong arms steadying her while a hand deftly caught the falling vase. She looked up to find herself staring into the most intense gray eyes she had ever seen. "Careful there," Vincent said, his voice deep and surprisingly gentle. He set the vase safely on a nearby table before ensuring she was steady on her feet. "Are you hurt?" Emma felt heat rise in her cheeks as she realized she was still pressed against this stranger's chest. His cologne was subtle but masculine, and she could feel the strength in the arms that held her. "I'm fine, thank you." That was incredible reflexes. Vincent found himself reluctant to release her. There was something about this young woman that intrigued him. She wasn't throwing herself at him like most women at these events, and there was a genuineness in her expression that he rarely encountered in his world. "Vincent Romano," he said, extending his hand with "Emma Clark," she replied, shaking his hand and trying to ignore the electric current that seemed to pass between them.
How
"Did you know? I've been watching you work all evening," Vincent admitted. "You handle each flower like it's precious. There's care in everything you do." Emma felt her breath catch. She recognized the name, of course. Vincent Romano was legendary in business circles, known for his brilliant mind and ruthless efficiency. But the man standing before her seemed different from the intimidating figure she had read about in magazines. "I should get back to work," she said reluctantly. "The event starts in an hour. Have dinner with me tomorrow night," Vincent said suddenly, surprising himself with the impulse. He never mixed business with pleasure, and he certainly never pursued women at charity events. Emma stared at him in shock. "I don't think we move in the same circles, Mr. Romano." "That's exactly why I'm asking," Vincent replied. "I'm tired of circles. I'd like to know the woman who creates such beauty." Before Emma could respond, the evening's host approached, recognizing Vincent immediately. Within moments, they were surrounded by donors and board members eager to speak with the famous billionaire. Emma slipped away during the commotion, but not before Vincent pressed his business card into her hand. The rest of the evening passed in a blur for Emma. She watched from the sidelines as Vincent gave a speech about supporting children's health care, his words passionate and heartfelt. When he mentioned his own difficult childhood and how medical care had saved his younger sister's life, Emma saw a vulnerability that the business world never witnessed. 3 days later, Emma finally called the number on the card. Vincent answered. On the first ring, as if he had been waiting, their first date was unlike anything Emma had expected. Instead of an expensive restaurant, Vincent took her to a small Italian place in Brooklyn that his grandmother had loved. They talked for hours about everything and nothing. Discovering shared values despite their different backgrounds, Vincent learned that Emma had grown up in a loving but modest family, that she had worked 2 jobs to pay for college, and that she dreamed of opening her own event planning company someday. Emma discovered that despite his wealth, Vincent was surprisingly down to earth, the dry sense of humor and genuine interest in her thoughts and dreams. Their courtship unfolded over 6 magical months. Vincent introduced Emma to a world of luxury she had never imagined, but he was careful never to make her feel out of place. He attended her small events with the same attention he gave to major business meetings, and he listened to her ideas with respect and genuine interest, brought warmth and authenticity into Vincent's carefully controlled world. She cooked simple meals in his sterile penthouse kitchen, filled his home with fresh flowers, and helped him remember what it felt like to laugh without calculating the advantage. The proposal came during a winter evening in Central Park. Vincent had arranged for the entire skating rink to be theirs alone, with thousands of tiny lights creating a magical atmosphere. When he dropped to one knee on the ice, presenting a stunning but tasteful solitaire ring, Emma said yes without hesitation. The engagement announcement sent shockwaves through New York's social scene. Vincent Romano, the eligible bachelor who had never been linked to anyone seriously, was marrying an unknown florist from Queens. The society pages buzzed with speculation and barely concealed snobbery. Emma tried to ignore the whispers and judgmental looks, focusing instead on the man who loved her enough to propose. Vincent protected her fiercely from the worst of the gossip, but she could see the strain it put on him. His world was not easily accepting of outsiders, especially those who hadn't been born into privilege. The wedding planning process revealed the true depth of the divide between their worlds. Vincent's mother, Catherine Romano, was polite but cold, clearly believing her son was making a mistake. The guest list grew from Emma's hoped-for intimate gathering of 50 to a formal affair, requiring 300 attendees through it all. Vincent remained devoted to Emma, but she began to notice the pressure he was under. Business associates questioned his judgment, society matrons whispered about gold diggers, and the media scrutinized their every public appearance. One evening, as they reviewed wedding details in Vincent's study, Emma voiced her growing concerns. "Are you sure about this? About us? Everyone seems to think you're making a terrible mistake." Vincent set down the invitation samples and pulled her into his arms. "Emma, look at me. Do you think I built a billion-dollar empire by caring what other people think? I choose you because you're the only person who makes me feel truly alive." He kissed her then, soft and sweet, and Emma felt her doubts melt away. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. The night before their wedding, as Emma stood in her childhood bedroom surrounded by her mother and grandmother as they made final preparations, she reflected on the incredible journey that had brought her to this moment. Tomorrow, she would become Mrs. Vincent Romano, stepping into a life she had never imagined possible. But more importantly, she would marry the man who had seen past her modest background to love the person she truly was. Whatever the future held, that love would be their foundation. The wedding night promised. The morning of the wedding dawned clear and bright. Autumn sunlight streaming through the stained glass windows of St. Mark's Cathedral. Emma stood before the antique mirror in the bridal suite, her reflection showing, a vision in silk and lace. The wedding dress, a gift from Vincent's grandmother's collection, had been altered to fit her perfectly. Its vintage elegance seemed to bridge the gap between her simple background and the sophisticated world she was entering. "You look absolutely radiant, sweetheart," her mother whispered, tears glistening in her eyes as she adjusted Emma's pearl earrings. These had belonged to Emma's grandmother, the only valuable jewelry their family owned. Emma's hands trembled slightly as she touched the delicate diamond necklace Vincent had given her that morning. The accompanying note had read simply, "For my bride, who makes everything beautiful just by being herself." The cathedral filled with the city's most prominent citizens. Business leaders, politicians, and society figures occupied the mahogany pews, their whispered conversations creating a subtle buzz of anticipation. Emma recognized few faces beyond her own small group of family and friends, who seemed almost lost among the sea of strangers. Catherine Romano sat in the front pew wearing an elegant champagne-colored suit, her expression carefully neutral. She had been civil during the engagement, but Emma sensed the older woman's reservations about her son's choice. When the organ began playing the wedding march, Emma's nervousness vanished. At the altar stood Vincent, devastating handsome in his mourning coat, his gray eyes fixed solely on her. The love and admiration she saw there gave her strength to walk down the seemingly endless aisle with each step. She felt the weight of curious stares from the assembled guests. She knew they were all wondering about this unknown woman who had captured New York's most eligible bachelor. But Vincent's unwavering gaze anchored her, reminding her that this moment was about them, not the watching crowd. When her father placed her hand in Vincent's at the altar, she felt an immediate sense of rightness. Whatever challenges lay ahead, this man was her partner, her protector, her love. Father Martinez's voice echoed through the cathedral as he began the ceremony. "Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to witness the union of Vincent and Emma in holy matrimony." Vincent's vows were heartfelt and personal. "Emma, from the moment I caught you from falling, you've been lifting me up. You've brought joy and authenticity into my carefully constructed world. Today I promise to cherish you, protect you, and love you with everything I have." Emma's response came from her heart. "Vincent, you've shown me possibilities I never dreamed existed. More than that, you've accepted me exactly as I am. I promise to stand beside you, support your dreams, and love you with complete honesty and devotion." The ring exchange was simple but profound. Vincent had chosen matching platinum bands, elegant but not ostentatious. As he slipped the ring onto Emma's finger, his thumb gently caressed her knuckles. "With this ring, I thee wed," he said, his voice strong and certain. "All that I am, I give to you." Emma's hand shook slightly as she placed Vincent's ring on his finger, but his encouraging smile steadied her. "With this ring, I thee wed. All that I am, I give to you." When Father Martinez pronounced them husband and wife, Vincent's kiss was tender and reverent, lasting just long enough to seal their commitment without being inappropriate for the sacred setting. The reception at the Metropolitan Club was magnificent. The ballroom had been transformed with Emma's designs, incorporating both elegance and warmth. White roses and soft lighting created an atmosphere that was both sophisticated and welcoming. During their first dance to "The Way You Look Tonight," Vincent held Emma close, whispering in her ear, "How are you feeling, Mrs. Romano?" The use of her new name sent thrills through her. "Perfect. This is all perfect." "You're what makes it perfect," he replied, spinning her gracefully. "I have something to tell you later when we're alone." Pulse quickened at his words, wondering what he meant. Throughout the evening, she noticed how Vincent's business associates approached with congratulations, curiosity about his choice, perhaps even surprise. As the evening progressed, Emma found herself enjoying the celebration more than she had expected. Vincent never left her side, introducing her warmly to everyone and making sure she felt comfortable. His pride in her was evident to all, and gradually, now she began to relax among these intimidating strangers. After hours of dancing, speeches, and celebration, Vincent led Emma to a quiet balcony overlooking the city. The lights of Manhattan twinkled below them like earthbound stars, and the cool evening air provided relief from the warmth of the ballroom. "Emma," Vincent began, his voice unusually hesitant, "there's something I need to ask you, something I should have discussed before today." Emma turned to face him, her wedding dress rustling softly in the breeze. "What is it?" Vincent took her hands in his thumbs tracing gentle circles on her palms. "I need you to know that whatever your answer is, it won't change how I feel about you. But I have to know. Have you ever been with a man before? The question hung between them in the quiet evening air. Emma felt warmth rise in her cheeks as she looked down at their joined hands. She had wondered if this conversation would come up, had even rehearsed what she might say. "I've dated, but I've never been intimate with anyone," she said softly. "I know that might seem unusual nowadays, but I always believed that intimacy should be shared with someone special, someone I loved completely." When she finally looked up, she was surprised to see not disappointment in Vincent's eyes, but something that looked almost like reverence. "Emma," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "That's not unusual. That's precious." He lifted one hand to cup her cheek. "It terrifies me. Terrifies you," she whispered, confusion clouding her features. Vincent nodded, his jaw tightening slightly. "Because now I know that when we make love, I'll be your first, your only." That kind of trust, that kind of gift, deserves more than just desire. It deserves real, proven love. The weight of his words settled between them. Emma searched his face, seeing vulnerability there that she had never witnessed before. This powerful man who commanded boardrooms and built empires was suddenly uncertain. "Vincent," she whispered, stepping closer to him. "I chose you. I married you. I trust you." He shook his head gently. "Not yet, not completely. I won't accept that gift from you until you do, until we both know that what we have is real and lasting." "What are you saying?" Vincent's hands moved to her shoulders, his touch gentle but firm. "I'm saying that we're going to wait. We're going to take time to truly know each other, to build something unshakable. I'm going to court my own wife until she falls completely in love with me and I with her." Emma stared at him in amazement. In a world where men often took what they wanted without thought, here was one choosing to wait, choosing to earn what she was offering freely. "How long?" she asked softly. Vincent smiled, and for the first time that day, it reached his eyes completely. "However long it takes. A month, 6 months, a year, until you look at me and know without any doubt that you're ready to give yourself to me completely, and I'm ready to receive that gift with the love it deserves." As they stood there in the moonlight, Emma felt something shift inside her chest. This wasn't the arrangement she had expected when she agreed to marry Vincent Romano. This was something far more precious, the promise of a love built on respect, patience, and genuine caring. The sounds of laughter and music drifted out from the ballroom, but in their quiet corner of the world, husband and wife simply held each other, beginning a journey that would teach them both what true love really meant. That night, Vincent moved his belongings to the guest room of their penthouse, giving Emma space and time to adjust to their new life together. As he kissed her goodnight at her bedroom door, his lips soft and respectful against hers, Emma knew she had married a man unlike any other. "Good night, my beautiful wife," he whispered against her forehead. "Good night, my patient husband," she replied, her heart full of gratitude for this unexpected gift of time. The journey to true love 3 weeks into their marriage, Emma had settled into a rhythm she never could have imagined. Vincent's penthouse on the Upper East Side was a masterpiece of modern design, but he had made sure she felt at home. He had given her complete freedom to redecorate the guest bedroom in soft colors that reminded her of her childhood home, and he had converted his home office into a design studio where she could work on her event planning business. Each morning, Vincent would prepare coffee for both of them before leaving for his office, but not before leaving small notes for Emma to find throughout the day. Today's note, tucked inside her favorite novel, simply read, "Your laughter yesterday when you were arranging the kitchen flowers made my entire board meeting worthwhile. Thank you for bringing joy into my world." Emma traced the elegant handwriting with her finger, her heart warming at his thoughtfulness. True to his word, Vincent had been nothing but respectful and patient. They shared meals, long conversations, and gentle goodnight kisses. But he had maintained the boundaries he had set for them both. That afternoon, Emma decided to surprise Vincent by cooking dinner. She had discovered that despite his wealth, he preferred simple, home-cooked meals to the elaborate cuisine his chef usually prepared. As she moved around the kitchen, preparing his favorite dish, she reflected on how different he was from what she had expected. The Vincent Romano the world knew was commanding and sometimes ruthless in business. But the Vincent she was getting to know was gentle, thoughtful, and surprisingly vulnerable. He listened when she spoke about her dreams. He never made her feel inadequate for not understanding the complexities of his business world. When Vincent arrived home that evening, the aroma of garlic and herbs filled the apartment. He found Emma in the kitchen, flour dusting her cheek as she focused intently on kneading fresh pasta dough. "Something smells incredible," he said, loosening his tie as he approached. "Ouch!" Without thinking, he reached out to brush the flour from her cheek, his touch gentle and warm. Emma felt her breath catch at the intimate gesture. "I wanted to do something nice for you. You've been so patient with me, so kind." Vincent's hand lingered on her face for a moment before he stepped back, respecting the boundaries he had set for them both. "Emma, you don't have to earn my kindness. It's freely given." Over dinner, they talked about their day, their dreams, and their fears. Vincent shared stories of building his company from nothing, working 18-hour days and sacrificing personal relationships for success. Emma spoke about growing up in a modest home where love was abundant, even if money was scarce. "I sometimes wonder what you see in me," Emma admitted as they sat on the balcony afterward, the city lights twinkling below them. "You could have married anyone, a socialite, a businesswoman, someone who understands your world." Vincent turned to face her, his expression serious. "Do you want to know what I saw that first night at the charity gala?" Emma nodded, genuinely curious. "You were arranging centerpieces, and one of the wealthy donors knocked over a vase you had just finished. Water went everywhere, flowers scattered. The donor just walked away without a word." Vincent's voice grew softer. "But you didn't get angry or upset? You simply smiled, got down on your hands and knees in your beautiful dress, and started cleaning up the mess. Then you began arranging the flowers again, as if nothing had happened." He reached for her hand, intertwining their fingers. "In that moment, I saw your character, your grace under pressure, your resilience. Those are qualities that can't be bought or taught, Emma. They come from the heart." As the weeks turned into months, their relationship deepened in ways neither had expected. Vincent began taking Emma to work with him occasionally, valuing her perspective on his company's charitable initiatives. Her fresh eyes and genuine compassion led to several new programs that helped underprivileged children access technology and education. Emma began to understand the pressures and responsibilities that came with Vincent's position. Watched him make difficult decisions that affected thousands of employees. Saw him struggle with the loneliness that success often brought, and witnessed his genuine desire to use his wealth to make a positive difference in the world. One evening, after a particularly challenging day at the office, Vincent came home looking exhausted and defeated. A major deal had fallen through, potentially costing the company millions and affecting hundreds of jobs. Emma found him sitting on the balcony, staring out at the city with hollow eyes. Without a word, she sat beside him and gently took his hand. They sat in comfortable silence for nearly an hour before Vincent finally spoke. "Sometimes I wonder if it's all worth it," he said quietly. "The stress, the pressure, the constant decisions that affect so many lives." Emma squeezed his hand. "Tell me about the scholarship program you started for underprivileged students." Vincent looked at her in confusion. "What does that have to do with anything? Just tell me about it." As Vincent began describing the program that provided full college scholarships to deserving students from low-income families, his voice gradually grew stronger. He told her about Maria, a young woman from the Bronx who is now studying medicine at Columbia, and about James, whose innovative app idea was already changing lives.